was born on December 19th, 1966. But my birth certificate and my driver license says January 3rd, 1967. I have two other brothers. They were born in October and December. Their driver's license and birth certificate says January. Okay? My sister was born in October. Her driver's license says October. Okay? And the reason that is because, if you can see in this picture, there's a military truck back there. And that's because Vietnam was at a state of war at the time. And as long as I can remember hearing stories from my parents, Vietnam has always been at war. Okay? Okay, so when there's a war, there's a draft. And when you turn 18, as a boy, you get drafted. Right? So if your birth date is if you're born in 1966, but your birth certificate says 1967, you get drafted 1 year later. Okay? So as a mother, okay, you assume that 20 years from now, there's still going to be a war, and your sons are going to get drafted. And if you move their birthday to 1 more year, you can ensure that their sons will live 1 more year. Okay? All right? Now, I want to leave that with you a little bit because growing up under that state, even when I was this young, I understood that perfectly. Okay? Okay? This picture outside my grandmother's house, my grandmother lived on this side. So this is the street. She lived on this side. And she had an upstairs, and the upstairs had a window, and the window had these bars on it, kind of like those old Western movie bars, right? And then when I was like 4 or 5, I was pretty lazy, and I didn't want to go downstairs to go to the bathroom, right? So I would lean outside the bars and pee out into the alley below, right? And this story comes in a little bit later, but basically the way you can think about it is that you're standing there with these bars, you're peeing down, and there's an alley, and there's a wall right across from you, right? So that's what I'm seeing when I'm doing this, okay? All right, so here's a picture of my family. This picture is taken in 1975. This picture is taken slightly before the war ended. We knew the war was going to end, and we knew that our side was going to lose. We didn't know exactly when, but we knew it was close. The reason this picture is significant, one, is that for you, it shows our family. Here's my mom, here's my dad, here's my sister, it's me, my 2 brothers, and my stepsister. We rarely had a picture taken like this, and for me, when I was 8, it was unusual, I remember, to have a picture taken. And the reason this picture is taken is because when a war ends, there's chaos, and families try to escape the war, basically. And we had heard stories of families running to escape the wars, and the families would get split up, and the kids would get lost. Okay? And then the kids couldn't get reunited with their families anymore. Okay? So my brother at 3, he's illiterate, right? He doesn't know boo, right? So if he gets separated, we needed a document, a most recent document as possible of what the family looked like. So if my father was sent to a concentration camp, for example, because he was in the military, and if the other side wins, you send the other guys to prison. Then the families get split up. You need a picture, right? Okay. The key there is that growing up, my goals at the time was not to die at 18. The question of like what you're going to do when you grow up is irrelevant. Okay? Make it past 18, survive the couple years of war, and then we talk about it. Okay? Okay? So this theme comes up over and over again in the next couple sections, which is that your goals are bounded by what you can see. Okay? And what I saw was the upcoming draft, the upcoming war. That's what I saw. Those are my goals. I'm going to get past that first one. Okay? So the war comes to an end, and virtually on the last day, my parents decide that they needed to escape because my father was in so much danger. So basically the plan, was get on a boat, go out into the middle of the ocean, and hope to get picked up by another boat. That's the plan. Okay? So to put the plan in another way is we're going to trade the possibility of death for some opportunity that's better. Basically, that's the plan. Okay? All right? So we get on a boat, we go out in the middle of the ocean, And the boat leaves at night, so I go to sleep. And by the time I wake up the next day, we're in the middle of the ocean. And I had never been out in the open ocean, right? So you wake up in the morning, what do you need to do? You need to pee, right? Right? The boat's packed full of people. There's no room in the toilet. The toilet basically was just this thing that, like, this is the side of the boat, and basically there's 2 planks, and then you kind of straddle the plank, and then you go. But your 8 adults are using the little planks, so you go off the side, right? So when you go off the side as an 8-year-old, it's exactly like peeing through the bars at your grandmother's house, right? So you lean out there, there's a little pole here, you hang on to it, and you pee. But when you pee and you look up, you don't see the alley and you don't see the wall anymore, you see the ocean. And you see the horizon, and the horizon is perfectly straight. The line of the horizon is so straight, you can't imagine a razor being sharper than that. And it goes on forever, okay? And immediately I knew that it had changed, okay? That my life was no longer limited by the bar, the alley, and the wall. I no longer had to escape the war. I knew that the possibility was infinite. I could have died. My sister and I talked about that. Like, we could die on this trip. But 8 and 9-year-old doesn't really mean that much, right? The possibility of having my horizon extended was so exhilarating. I remember thinking, if we could just live, it's going to be awesome. I got a chance. I don't know what that chance is, but I got a chance. I didn't have it before. Okay? So that was the second step. My imagination of what was possible and what my goals were had changed just because what I saw in front of me had changed. Okay? We spent about 3 to 4 months in refugee camps. Refugee camps, this is the one at Camp Pendleton. If some of you guys know Southern San Diego, Camp Pendleton is just north of San Diego. It's a Marine camp, it's a Marine base. They set up these tents here, and we lived in these tents for a few months. We were in a different refugee camp before this, but this is the last one. And this is a very common sight. Trucks pull up, they drop off stuff, you get stuff, right? What ends up happening after the refugee camp is that different people in the community, people like Mr. Belskow or whatever, they get together and they said, we're going to help one of these families. And the people who helped us was a church. Okay? They got together and they said, we're going to help one of these families, and we're going to act as mentors, basically. You guys have mentors, right? Well, this church behaved as our family mentor, right? They got us housing, they got us clothes. These clothes are all like donated clothes, right? So we basically had nothing, but we had mentors to help us get housing, get our kids in school, learn how to go grocery shopping, all the stuff, okay? So the short of it is that we made it. Now I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like $100, $1 million, because I know I'm not going to get drafted, right? I don't know any English, but I'm feeling pretty good at it. See here, okay. This is a couple years later, and the 6 of us are living. My parents and my brothers and sisters are living in a 2-bedroom apartment in San Diego. This is my grandmother. These are my uncles. My uncles come back into this story at the end. This was right around the time when I knew that we were on public assistance, that we were on welfare and we were on food stamps. I don't know how long we were on it. We might have been on it for only a month here or there, but I knew we were on it. And I knew we were on it because we went to the grocery store one day and people were paying with cash, and when my mom got up to the counter, she paid with something else other than cash. Right? And at that moment, I remember I walked away from the cash register because I was ashamed. I knew it wasn't good. Okay? So even though my life has now been extended, my horizon had been extended, my goals at that time was do something when you grow up so you don't starve. Do something when you grow up so you don't end up on public assistance. Okay? Okay, so my goals are getting better than death, but those are still my goals. Right? All right. I go to high school. Exactly where you guys are. Right? By then I was a pretty decent student. by then. So I was 8, I go to middle school, I go to high school. By then I become a pretty good student. I'll get back to that in a little bit. Okay, so I go from no English to being a pretty good student. Okay? This is me. This is the soccer team. We were pretty poor that year. We were pretty good the year before. Terrible that year. But it was fun. One of the things that was interesting is that the pictures that you'll see next are all, they're all scanned out of my senior year yearbook. Okay? So I had looked at my senior year yearbook and I just found it like a few weeks ago actually. When you said, hey, maybe you ought to show some, when Mr. Billscout says, hey, maybe you ought to show some pictures. I'm like, where am I going to get these pictures? I don't have any pictures. He said, oh, I'll go to my yearbook and I'll scan them. And I scanned this picture, and then what I found is that when you scan it, there's a soccer picture of Kicks from Colts. This is the boys' team, this is the girls' team. This girl here, I ended up marrying, and she's filming me right over there. She's born in the U.S. She's not a refugee like me. That's a pretty good win, I think. I also participated in a lot of things at school. I was, my personality is to get out and get involved a little bit. So I was co-president of this culture club. This is my co-president. He and I were good friends for a long time. And here's a picture of him drinking, I assume it's like ginger ale or something, at an event that we threw, Oktoberfest. We threw Oktoberfest at the school. This promotes culture, right? So when I saw this picture, I thought it was ridiculous, right? Because I'm like, okay, here's a Vietnamese guy, right? And here's like an African-American guy, right? And we're throwing Oktoberfest, and we're serving donuts. Like, what does that have to do with Oktoberfest, right? But that's what we ended up doing. The point of this, though, is that, oh, and I was also in drama, that's me. The performing art program at my school wasn't as good as the one on the peninsula. There's only, that's all we had. The point of this is that I got involved with a lot of people. I ended up getting involved with a lot of people. I knew a lot of kids from a lot of backgrounds. The schools that we had then was very diverse. We didn't have any majority ethnicity. So we had like 40% whites, and I think and then 50-something% was made up of a mix of like African Americans, Hispanics. The Asian population like me has started to grow because we have a big influx of refugees. But it was a really mixed crowd. And then, so some of the decisions they were making were like random. And I'll tell you a story. I had a friend, we'd been friends for a long time. He got himself a car, and we went to the movies a lot. One day, we go to the movies, we finish watching the movie, and he's driving around this parking lot. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, and then he goes and he parks, and then basically what he tells me is there's this car in this parking lot, and I'm going to break into it, and I want you to drive the getaway car. Okay, so come back in like 5 or 10 minutes when I'm done with my job, and then you drive me away. Okay? And I'm like, I don't know, man, this sounds like a bad idea. Right? But then he talks me into it. I said, okay, you go over to the car and drive the getaway car. We don't get caught. Okay? I knew it was a bad decision. He didn't steal anything. He wasn't successful. So my conscience is clear on that count. Right? But I was lucky because I knew a bunch of other kids. Okay? If he was my only friend, then I probably would have gone out with him again and he would have tried to break into another car. Right? I was still his friend. Going on, but I could tell, and this wasn't a conscious decision. I didn't sit down that day and go, man, I gotta get away from this guy. I didn't think like that. It just made me nervous, right? But I had somewhere else to go, right? So I gravitated toward friends who didn't ask me to drive getaway cars. Pretty straightforward decisions, pretty key, right? Right? I was a pretty good student. I was graduating high school. I was feeling great about myself. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a good job. But even better yet, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to college. I'm going to try to go to San Diego State. Or at best, I was going to go to UC San Diego or something like that. Near home, right? I'm not going to starve. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get in public assistance now. Right? So I talked to my friends, the people who didn't ask me to drive getaway cars. And I said, well, what are you guys going to do? None of them worried about starving. None of them worried about getting jobs. None of them. They all assumed they weren't going to starve. They all assumed they were going to get jobs. Right? That was their assumption. Okay? Oops, sorry. This woman, this girl, I call her girl, she's a girl then, I guess, she's a woman now. She went to Northwestern. She went to Occidental. She went to UC Berkeley. She's now a professor at some university, I can't remember now. Okay? But basically, that's what they're doing. All my friends are like, oh, we're going to go away, we're going to go to selected universities, and we're going to pursue our dreams. We're going to get better. Okay? I don't know. I've been friends with these people for a while, since 7th grade, some of these guys. Why aren't I just like them? Right? I can do that. Right? So, I said, I want to apply to UC Berkeley. I'm not going to stay home. I want to go. How am I going to pay for it? I have no idea. Okay? No idea. I just went. Okay? Here I am at UC Berkeley. This guy here, he ended up being my best man at my wedding. He's giving me a haircut. He gave me a flat top. I carried this flat top around for way longer than I should have. But it was great at the time. Here I am working in a lab. I was a scientist by then. My major was in science. I was really, really lucky because I got into a lab that was doing work that eventually ended up winning the Nobel Prize. And I didn't understand that when I was there. But I was there the whole time when they were doing this. So I got the impression that that's how science was. I thought, oh, you just do science and then it's awesome. And that's how I'm going to be when I become a scientist, right? So this is like the recurring theme. You just see stuff and it looks normal, and then you assume that that's normal, right? So if normal is getting grafted and not dying, that's normal. If normal is like not getting on welfare, that's normal. If normal is doing awesome stuff and have people clap for you and win the Nobel Prize, that's normal, right? That's normal, right? This is my graduation day. This is a friend of mine. He ended up being an orthodontist. He's now our orthodontist. Our kids go to him. Okay? This is a picture of a party that we had for like a couple of days before the actual graduation. And we were molecular biology majors. Okay? And everybody on the front row here. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in molecular biology. Now I'm certain I'm not going to be on welfare. I'm going to get an awesome job. Right? This is great. Same thing happened as it happened in high school. I asked my friends, what are you guys going to do? None of them were going to do that. Okay? What were they going to do? They're like, we're awesome. We're going to go change the world. That's what they were going to do. Okay? So I'm like, oh, why can't I change the world? I should change the world. I don't know what I'm going to change it to, but I'm going to do that. Right? Every one of these people on the front row here ended up getting, going to graduate school, getting PhDs, or becoming doctors. Okay? Every one. Okay? This guy is really interesting. Clem Donahue. Okay? Clem Donahue, I met him at UC Berkeley. And Clem Donahue would tell us stories about stuff he used to do. Clem Donahue dropped out of school and ended up getting these crazy jobs like washing poodles. Like people would come in, bring the dogs, and he would wash poodles. He cleaned the big window at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Like he was one of those divers who went down. Like he did all of these crazy jobs, right? And then he would walk around the lab, and we would be talking about stuff, and he would come up with some insight, and we were like, wow, that's pretty good, Clem. And Clem would say, that's the kind of stuff you can remember when you're not on potty anymore. So you don't have to like start out as a child prodigy and then go all through. Okay? Clem now is pediatric at UCSF. Okay? So he went to Columbia Medical School. He's now a doctor at UCSF. Okay? This woman here is professor at Duke. Okay? So let's back this up a little bit. Okay? The point I'm telling you, and this is the takeaway message in this first one, right? Is that your goals, and therefore your achievements, are bounded by what you can see and can believe. Okay? It doesn't do you very much good if you can see what's possible, but don't believe it for yourself. Okay? You have to get out there, you have to see it, and you have to do enough so you can believe it. Okay? We'll get back to how to do this, okay, in a little bit. But that was a big lesson for me. Okay? And this is a lesson that I've been learning. I've been struggling with learning this because you feel like an underdog, and you feel like, oh no, that can't be me, I'm an imposter. You know, these other people deserve it because they have these advantages, right? But even last week, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he told me the same thing. He says, Han, you can do this thing. Go do this thing. Give yourself permission to do this thing. Go do it. You can do it. Today. Okay? I thought I learned this lesson a long time ago, but I haven't. Okay? Lesson you learn all the time. Okay? Just checking the time. Okay. Okay, so dreams are good. Okay? But dreams are nothing if you don't do something about them. They're just fantasy. Okay? So the next thing you want to do, and this is the big lesson, the other thing is that you have to put in what I call, you got to make the effort play. You got to do something that's free. Okay? So the first day of elementary school, okay, I don't know a word of English. Okay, so you fill out this 3x5 cards where you're supposed to write down your name and your phone number so they can call you when you fall down sick. I didn't know what that card was. I copied the information from the kid next to me. My card said Elizabeth, some number. Okay, that's what it said. Okay? We had a spelling test. The spelling test had a word on it that was the organic name for aspirin. I wrote it down because even I can't remember it today. It's let me see here. Let me make sure I get this right here. Acetyl salicylic acid. That was the spelling word in 4th grade. Okay? And we had this kid, Gretchen. The teacher says, Gretchen, can you stand up and spell the word? Gretchen stood up and spelled the word. I could tell right away that Gretchen was the smartest kid in the school. Okay? I didn't know a word of English. I'm like, okay, spelling test at the end of the week, I'm in big trouble. Okay? Okay? I got 100% on the spelling test. Okay, why? Because spelling test is just an effort play. Right? You don't have to know what it means. You just go and you memorize it and you get 100%. Done. Okay? That's an effort play. You get those points for free. Okay? Multiplication table, 4th grade. Learn the multiplication table. You don't have to know any English. You get it for free. You can't do any of the word problems, but you get those points for free. Okay? They want you to write down the date and the name at the top corner. Write it down. Get those points for free. Okay? You gotta make the effort play. Okay? The effort play is key. In grad school, people think, oh, you get a PhD, it's a big deal. People are smart. No, it has nothing to do with that. Okay? In graduate school, I was successful in graduate school because, I'll give you an example. There's an experiment that takes 3 days to do. Okay? I decided that there was a way to do it in 2 days. Okay? And the only trick was, don't go to the lab at 8 in the morning, go to the lab at 6 in the morning. Okay? And leave at 10 at night. And just do that for 2 days, and you save yourself a whole day. Okay? You're not working the whole time. Okay? I mean, it's not like you're like grinding away the whole time. You just have to time it right so that that's what you do. 2 hours earlier, 2 hours later, you save yourself a whole day. Okay? Okay. You don't have to be very smart to know that that allows you to do many more experiments than you could have. Right? So even if you're dumb and you make mistakes, well, you get another chance. Right? This applies everywhere. I was a dishwasher, and I bust tables at the Sizzler, which is kind of like Applebee's. Right? Right? The first day I was there, I did this thing, and the manager came over and said, Han, you're going to be good. I had no idea why he thought I was going to be good the first day, but he thought I was good. Okay? And I still couldn't figure out why. But I went to a restaurant the other day, and we were waiting for a table. This girl's wiping down the table. Right? And I'm like, she missed the spot. Right? That's an effort play. You get that for free. Okay? The manager's going to stand across the table and he says, you're busting tables. There's a customer watching you, and you missed the spot. That's poor effort. Right? The effort play pays off everywhere. Okay? You got to get those points for free. Getting back to the school thing, for example, if the class to get an A, like I didn't know any English, I had no chance of getting an A. My goal wasn't to get an A. Okay? But think about this. You spend the effort to get 100% on the spelling test. Right? You spend the effort to get 100% on the arithmetic. You don't have to know any English. Right? If you just do that, you're going to get better. It's impossible not to get better. Right? And on top of that, then the problem of passing the class is no longer this amount of points. You know you're going to get these points for free. You only need these points. It gets a lot easier. You do that for a semester, you do that for a year, you gain confidence that you can do this. Okay? So you know going to the next year, I'm going to get these points for free. Okay? The class gets easier. Okay? All right? Okay, so What is it that you actually do? Okay, so those are the two takeaway messages. Okay, your goal and what you can achieve are bounded by what you can see and what you can believe. Okay, so what do you actually do? Well, the good news is that, oh, and the second thing is make the effort play, right? That's it. Those are the key to, I've been trying to do these things for like 40 years, right? The good news is that the fact that you've chosen to be part of the program means that you've already decided to do those two things, right? Right? I'm going to make the assumption that you've already decided that you needed to get into a situation where you could see more examples of success. The program is built for that. The mentoring thing, the getting out into the job shadow, that's what it's designed for, right? I was mentor for a couple of kids the last couple of years, and the one takeaway message is that the students didn't take advantage of that enough. Okay? They don't ask the mentors enough questions. Mentors don't want to force our opinion on you. We don't want to say, hey, I'm really smart, I'm really wise, I'm like Gandalf the wise, I'm Bilbo, you listen to me. It's not like that, right? You need to ask the question, and then the mentor will answer. Take advantage of that, right? Take advantage of the other mentor, right? Mentor swap, I don't know if that's allowed, but, do that kind of stuff. Get out and see more examples of success. Woodside's a pretty diverse high school. Get out and see more stuff, okay? Just get exposed to what looks like success to you, okay? 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 And then finally, make the effort play. What is the effort play for you guys? I don't know. You guys can decide. But let's say it's to attend class, right? The kids who are successful, attending class is not a goal. Attending class is something that's going to happen. They're going to get that for free. They assume that. Right? So, make that a goal. Don't make a goal. Don't make the goal so big, I'm going to never miss a class all term. Just make it in a week. I want to make a class every day this week. Give yourself some way to gain the day back that you lose. You miss a day on Friday, for example, for whatever reason. It's not a good reason. But do something on the weekend that allows you to get that back, right? That allows you to check that off on a calendar. To do it personally, like I'm going to spend an extra hour studying. That allows you to check it off on the calendar. Keep on doing that kind of stuff. Get that stuff for free. Make it a habit. Okay? Right? That's the kind of stuff you want to do. Okay? So, okay, what I want to close is, I want to really encourage you guys, because I'm not telling you anything you guys don't already know and have already decided to do. Okay? You guys have already decided to seek out diversity, to seek out success, and to see examples of it. Okay? You guys have already decided to make the effort. You guys have already decided to make the effort play. Right? What I'm telling you is that those decisions are the right decisions, and to do more of it, take more advantage of the opportunity that's available in this program. Okay? All right? All right. Thank you very much.
One more round of applause.